not in Kansas anymore.
You have my curiosity.
Are you telling me you built a time machine?
The Force will be with you. Assemble.
Hello and welcome back to the Get Real podcast, the podcast where we get real about all our favourite films and TV shows. I am Chris, and with me is my housemaid co-host, Sam Clayton.
Oh, Chris.
My liege, can I get you anything?
I had no idea where he was going to go with that intro.
I just winged that one.
thought,
I didn't know where I was
please
going.
don't say parasitical.
That's what I was thinking, my parasitic
I mean,
co-host.
I know I've
But I
been
was like,
ill the last few weeks, but no chance.
No, I felt like that was a bit too mean.
No, that's fine. So, yeah, if that's not gave it away, today on this episode, we're talking all about Parasite.
Yes.
And a little bit about Bong Joon Ho as well.
If I knew any Korean, I would say something now.
Yeah, really
I
good
don't.
film, right? Really good film.
Yeah. We'll get onto that. We'll get onto that because we've got so much news to cover right now.
A lot of trailers came out.
A lot of trailers came out. I've just noticing most of this news is actually just about one subject. But there is lots of other news as well. So we'll kick it off straight away. Did you hear that Indiana Jones 5 is about to start production starting in spring?
And it's keeping Harrison Ford, isn't it?
It is. Harrison Ford is back.
You think at this point they may start looking at recasting, though.
For like a younger...
You know, he's getting on a bit, isn't he? He's getting on a bit.
He's like...
You've seen that hunched run in Force Awakens, and you can't really do the pistol pose
Maybe they
anymore.
de-age him like Robert De Niro, but he still walks like an old man. Old man Harrison Ford with a whip.
Some CGI glass stamping at the side of people's heads.
Yeah.
Big shoes.
They tried to reboot it with the last one, didn't they? Bringing in Shia LaBeouf. They were like, you literally gave him the hat, like passing of the torch type thing, the hat and the whip.
Yeah.
And then
And
everybody
then
hated Shia LaBeouf,
and
so
Shia
they got rid of him.
LaBeouf did a Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah. They called him Mutt. Like,
do you remember when
you're not going to root for a character called Mutt after his dad's called Indiana Jones, are you?
Do you remember when he did the call centre thing near us?
Yeah.
Was it Liverpool that he did it in?
Yeah, you could just call up, or you could go in and just sit across the table from him.
And watch him answer the phone to people.
And, you could like touch him or anything. It was weird.
So weird.
What's
he done recently?
Fascinated by him. He did...
Oh, he's done that
Honey
film.
Boy,
Yeah.
where he played his own dad, and he did The Peanut Butter Falcon, which I want to watch both of those films, and when we do, we'll do an episode on it, because I love Shia LaBeouf. He's a freak and he scares me, but I love him.
There was apparently a bit of beef over him at the Oscars. Zach Gottsagen
I don't know.
defends Shia LaBeouf over Oscars 2020 accusation.
What's he accusing him of?
Oh, here we go. So fans defend Shia LaBeouf after he's accused of laughing. Oh dear. After he's accused of laughing at a Down syndrome co-star. Oh dear. That took a dark turn really quick.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
That's from The Peanut Butter Falcon, that.
Yeah.
The weather is getting bad outside. Storm Dennis is hitting us.
Yeah, we've had Storm Ciara. We've had two storms.
We don't know how to pronounce
and right
names.
now, Storm Dennis is hitting the window right behind Chris's
Goddamn
head.
Dennis.
Knocking on the window. Let me in.
Storm Denise.
Storm Denise.
Dene Vinu, or whatever.
Yeah, we've just seen this next trailer you're going to talk about, the Iron Mask. Now, I've never seen the original, The Man in the Iron Mask.
I feel like it's based off that. It seems to be based off that.
Yeah.
With Leonardo DiCaprio.
But it's a no-go for me.
But also,
straight off
the
seeing
guy
this
in the
first
Iron
trailer.
Mask only appeared once in the trailer.
Yeah.
The rest of it was just Jackie Chan and Arnold Schwarzenegger fighting.
in one scene. We only saw them in one scene.
And a goddamn awful CGI dragon.
And that's not just the awful CGI. The first thing that I said when we saw that trailer,
You
I
paused it
stopped
a second in.
and I was like, this is like the Game of Thrones intro sequence. What's going on?
Yeah, they've made some fictional version of London that just looks awful.
I've seen better graphics on a PlayStation 2, honestly.
Right. After that, there was a trailer for The Hunt came out. We forgot to watch this one. But do you remember about The Hunt?
No.
So it was a film that was due to come out last year. It was meant to come out about Halloween time. But when the trailer launched, unfortunately, it was bad timing. The trailer launched like the same weekend as 2 mass shootings in America.
Oh no, I do remember seeing something
it's a film
this.
about like Trump supporters, like esque. Obviously, not saying Trump supporters, but like wearing like MAGA hats,
Okay.
like the
Make America
racist
great
elite,
again. Yeah.
like racist elites in America are meant to be hunting other people. Well, it was meant to be sort of like a dark satire, but apparently the trailer sort of really missed the mark, and it was the same weekend.
Was this the one that came out around the same time as the Charlottesville attack?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember
I believe that was the one. But so it was meant to come out in October, and then they were like, right, we're just scrapping the film, we're not releasing it. Now they've brought it back with a new trailer which leans more into the comedy aspects of it. And it's meant to be sort of a reality show gone wrong.
Okay.
But yeah.
It's an interesting premise,
it's back, and do you know what? The way they are marketing it is great. It's like all the posters like the worst film of the year by everyone that hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
Like
it was probably a good
poster
move
just of bad reviews.
Yeah, it's probably a good move they waited, and because if it comes out and it's a genuinely good, really good film, it would have been a shame if it came out, in the right context.
Yeah.
It would have been a shame if it came out and didn't do well because of that.
Yeah.
So it's still somebody's art at the end of the day, isn't it?
Exactly.
So moving on, we've had a couple of other bits over the last week. So this should be the most up-to-date news we've ever done in an episode of Get Real. Because this comes out on the Monday, and we're currently recording this on the Sunday afternoon going into evening. Still kind of light outside. And it's winter.
This is the earliest we've ever recorded something.
And the latest at the same time.
Yeah, the day before it goes live.
Yeah, Birds of Prey got renamed. It didn't do massively well on the opening box office. We enjoyed it.
Apparently, so the film's not being renamed fully.
No, it's being renamed from Birds of Prey and
the Fantabulous
Emancipation of One Harley Quinn to just Harley Quinn : Birds of Prey.
Apparently, the film's not being renamed as in they're not re-editing it in the film and stuff like that. But for when cinemas are listing it, they're listing it as Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey.
And it'll probably be released on DVD and streaming as just Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey, I imagine.
Depending on the country, yeah. Did you notice the same thing happened with Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat?
Yeah.
So all the branding was like...
and stuff as well.
Ford versus Ferrari. They apparently said that's because people in America wouldn't go to see a film with a French name because it was Le Mans 66 over here.
Oh.
People in the UK, Formula One is a much bigger thing.
Yeah,
so we know about Le Mans.
We would know what Le Mans is.
We did a 24-hour Le Mans remake.
Oh, let's not go on that. When we say a 24-hour Le Mans remake, we weren't privileged enough. Yeah, we didn't actually go to Le Mans and drive a car around for 24 hours. We did it on a video game, didn't we?
We did it on a video game for 24 hours.
Good times. So I don't know whether you've seen these other rumours while we're on the topic of Harley Quinn and the DC universe. There was a first look at Harley Quinn in James Gunn's Suicide Squad 2.
A red and black prom dress type thing.
So we've seen two different clips that have been released from the set on Twitter. The first one shows Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie, leaving a prison. Now, we assume it's a prison because there's a flag. I went down the rabbit hole a little bit on this, so I've had to write it down.
Okay.
So there's a flag of Santa Prisca, which is the home of Penaduro. And Penaduro is a prison where Bane originates from.
Okay, yeah, Penna is probably penitentiary. Maybe.
Yeah, so the other rumour that we get off the back of this is that we could see Bane as a villain, and this is also apparently where Idris Elba's character and Margot Robbie meet up with King Shark.
Did you see the clip of so Idris Elba's character, I can't remember his name now, and Harley Quinn running down a street, and then a couple of other teammates join up with them as well.
Yeah. There's a woman who's dressed in a load of black, almost quite enchantress looking, but not. Yeah. Who's on the very left of them. Yeah. But yeah, you see them running down the street, and Idris Elba's definitely not playing Deadshot. Is it Warden? Or is it someone like that he's playing?
I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember. I think people were thinking maybe it was a version of Vigilante originally, but I don't know who
Vigilante, it is. Ward. I don't think Warden's a character. No. Yeah, Vigilante, he's meant to be playing.
There was also video from way down the street a couple of weeks ago came out of Idris Elba and John Cena in a scene together.
Nice.
I can't remember who all these people are play in because not all of them are 100% guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's all like leaks and stuff.
Yeah. So it's a shame because this could either be a little Easter egg towards Bane,
Yeah.
or we could actually get Bane in the film. I'd really like to see James Gunn's rendition of Bane.
That would be pretty cool.
And
I'm thinking like crazy bigger version of Drax.
Yeah, like a drugged up, get him on that venom drug, just going crazy,
Raging,
full proper black and white mask Bane, a bit like Juggernaut that we got in Deadpool 2. That'd be really cool if it was like quite true to the character.
Yeah,
and also like you said, we get Harley donning her black and red look instead of the more modern pink and blue look, which is quite cool.
Yeah.
So. But I'm very excited for that.
Interesting take. Also, James Gunn nailed it with Guardians of the Galaxy. Like he's proved he can work with an ensemble cast.
And also, he has a really good way of making the more ridiculous things in comic books look good on the big screen.
Yeah.
I.e., Ego the Living Planet.
Yeah.
Which we do see the planet, but
Yeah.
it's not a talking planet. It's just the way they did it was kind of cool. And also, I mean, you got a talking raccoon that looks really cool on screen.
Yeah. Like, he manages to somehow ground them, but still have them be really wacky.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, the Ravengers are all weird alien races, but they just look sick.
Yeah. And then the real big news this week, Chris, the real big news is that we've got a preview of Matt Reeves' Robert Pattinson's
Robert Battenbats,
which is
Pattinson's
Weekly Planet reference there.
Yeah. Shout out to anybody that got that reference.
Got to make sure you reference those guys. They're absolutely savage if you don't reference it as their famous
segment,
hot scoop or shot of poop segment.
We did not get this from that segment of the show.
No, we've not got it from that segment.
But we got the screen test footage of Robert Pattinson in the. I didn't say the full one. Robert Pattinson in the bat suit for the first time. It was a screen test which they released a day before they shot on the street, which is what Todd Phillips did with the Joker, so that the costume and everything wasn't spoilt.
Yeah,
by leaked photos. It's them actually putting it out there.
And I like the way they did this.
I think it looks pretty cool. Like, so did you know that the working title for this film is Vengeance?
Yeah, so the big thing is apparently the bat logo on his chest is made from, people are saying it's made from the gun that shot his parents.
Yeah, it does
which
look
is a comic. It's from the comics, that,
okay,
isn't it?
So in Detective Comics issue 1000, which came out
dropping
last
some
year,
hot knowledge there.
Kevin Smith, the filmmaker, also writes comic books sometimes. He did a short story in that where he got, obviously, like in most versions of the mythology, Batman tracks down Joe Chill, who typically killed his parents.
Yeah.
He kills him, and he normally takes the gun. In some versions, he's got it in like a glass cabinet as a constant reminder not to use guns, because if you bring more violence into the world,
unless you're
his way of saying it is, if you kill a killer, there's still the same amount of killers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty deep way of thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But in his version, he melted down the gun and he made it into the yellow breastplate on his chest. So he made that the yellow Batman symbol of the original days was to draw his enemies' guns. They would shoot at the big target. To sort of like destroy the logo type thing, and he would have the metal plate made from the gun underneath. So I reckon maybe that's what we're seeing here. We've got parts of it there, and also if you notice how the headpiece, it looks quite leathery. It looks like he's just starting out his.
So apparently
Batman
this is
career.
2 years into his Batman career. So that's why
and he's trying to hunt down whoever killed his parents.
Yeah, so this is why it's probably a younger looking Batman, which I definitely see from Pattinson's portrayal of it, and
Pattinson's
portrayal,
portrayal of like Catwoman,
Pattinson's portrayal. I think it looks really cool. I think it looks a lot more Arkham because it looks more like armor, right?
Yeah,
which is fine because if we're talking real, he's gonna have
it
it's like the
looks
Nolan
like he's
version.
made it himself as well.
Yeah, and like I said, I really like the Arkham looks and stuff, and although we got pretty much a true to form looking Batman from the Snyderverse, I would say. Yeah. I think this one's probably linking the differences that we have between the Nolan and the Snyderverse one, and if we
it
put them
looks
together,
practical and realistic. Like you said, it does look like the Arkham thing, like with the more armored shoulders and chest, and like it's in multiple segments, so he's got movement and stuff like that.
There's a bit of a collar as well that's quite cool on it. The only thing that I'm not too sure about is that with the front, I don't like that there's not a chin strap. I think it'd probably look better with a chin strap.
Most of it does normally just come to like here.
Yeah, I don't know.
But this one's just sort of like across the eyes. This one's more like classic Batman.
Yeah.
Which is what it is, especially with the long ears, because Batman used to have long ears.
The long ears that we see are just from, we shared it on our Instagram, didn't we? The Boss Logic, at Boss Logic on Instagram, if you go to his page, you'll see the rendition he's done where you can see the ears go quite high up. We've not actually officially seen that yet. That's just an artist portrayal.
In the photos we saw most of the ears anyway.
No, well, in the shots that we got, in the red lit shots, we only ever see up to his eyes. We don't see anything higher. Okay. You do see like the front of the cowl, but you don't see like the height of the ears. I think that's just an artist portrayal. What I kind of don't like about this, and I'm really all in on it, to be fair. I think it looks really cool, and I can't wait to see it. I just don't like how that cowl kind of comes out at the forehead a little bit, if you see what I mean.
What I'm thinking is maybe he's twisting that, and like because it looks like he's only got two small segments of the gun in the shape of the bat symbol. Maybe he's melted down the rest to protect his head.
I mean, maybe.
It might be some sort of like trying to make bulletproof armor for his helmet.
I like how in this we're going to be getting a bit of a rogues gallery, because we've got obviously Colin
Firth.
It's not Colin Firth.
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell is Penguin.
Yeah.
And you've got Paul Dano as the Riddler. You've got Catwoman in here. And then you've got someone who's not been announced who they're actually playing yet as well. I can't think. It's quite a big cast for this film.
We've got
Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman.
Yeah, we've also got Carmine Falcone as well, which is a crime lord.
So you've got quite a lot of characters in this. I think the whole Colin Farrell portrayal of Penguin's going to be extremely interesting. I think from the look of Paul Dano, you can kind of get an idea of what you're going to see as the Riddler. Mm-hmm. But I think the Colin Farrell portrayal of Penguin's going to be real.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah. I hope it's like different enough where it kind of maybe reinvents the character a bit like what they did in Gotham. They obviously made him a lot more different to the Danny DeVito Penguin that we got.
Yeah.
The really violent, biting people's hands off Penguin.
Weird penguin man. Yeah.
But I'm really excited to see this version. Have you seen the other photos that got leaked the other day of the people in the makeup?
Yeah, they look like they're from The Purge, don't they?
Yeah, that was the big thing, like Purge-looking street thugs or whatever.
They're mugging him in the middle of the day as well, while he's out running. So that was Robert Pattinson's stunt double.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
right,
it's like Bruce Wayne is getting mugged.
Ah.
As far as we can tell, probably anyway. Maybe he's stunt doubling for another character as well, but that's what people are thinking. Like maybe Bruce Wayne gets like beaten up type thing. And
yeah, I really can't wait for this. It's going to be quite strange because obviously we've had the recent obviously Birds of Prey film, and they're still continuing on, and then Suicide Squad is still continuing on with the
DC Extended Universe worlds of DC
with the timeline that we've got now, right? The continuity is the same. It's going to be quite interesting whether the Batman goes more like what the Joker did,
Elseworlds.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just its own, start to finish, it's its own thing. Whether or not it has a sequel or whether it builds its own universe, we don't know yet. Or maybe all this just combines in some crazy, something we see in Wonder Woman 84 or something. You don't know.
Maybe one day we'll get a Crisis on Infinite Earths.
But the film version.
Well,
hang on. Technically speaking, it is technically already the film version because the film version of The Flash was in...
Ezra Miller was in it. Yeah.
This is DC hurts my head a little bit.
Okay, so one last quick thing about the costume. I've got the image up here now. Looks sick. His like the silhouette just looks so cool, and like his jawline really suits it. Like you can see the leather stitching around it. Like it looks like he's making it himself.
A lot of people are quite torn on the jawline because it's quite hard to nail. I think that's maybe why I say that I probably
He's got a
rather
strong
have
chin.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. He
Like,
does.
that looks cool. That like looks like it reminds me of Year One Batman.
Yeah, and I think maybe because he's starting out, maybe he'll get a suit upgrade partway through the film.
Maybe
Ben Affleck
like,
style.
Like, the thing with like the Nolan trilogy is like, obviously he goes to Lucius Fox and he does trust Lucius Fox with making all the gear and helping him make the armor and stuff like that. But like, it seems too obvious. Like, who's buying like 4 black tumblers? Oh,
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne's the only guy in Gotham buying like. So if he's making it himself, it makes more sense that like he's trying to make sure that nobody knows who's underneath it. So
Yeah.
he's crafting a leather mask for himself. Maybe it is armored underneath. That's what the bulge might be.
You know, in the like, I only really remember the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rises from the Nolan verse.
Yeah.
In the first one we get, do we see like very young Batman, like where he first starts, or is he already kind of established at that point? Because if we haven't, it's something that we've probably not really seen with an on-screen Batman before, where he's very, very early days.
No,
Because all we ever really tend to see is Bruce Wayne as a kid, and then we see him as adult seasoned Batman. Obviously, in comics and stuff, we'll see other versions of that, but it's probably quite a good idea going where we've not seen it before. A bit like what they did with Joker.
Yeah.
We've never really had anything origin-wise with the Joker before, apart from in the comics, you know. I mean,
and even then, they're always changing as well.
yeah, exactly. You know, Red Hood and all that. But it's gonna maybe it's a really amazing idea to do something like this, because you've not got anything to really compare it to in terms of where it is in Bruce Wayne's timeline.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm down.
We could see, maybe because he is in his second year, maybe we see early days Batman, sort of like the beginning of Batman Begins, almost like where he's learning to fight and everything like that, and then maybe he does make like a makeshift costume, and he goes out and he like ends up finding whoever killed his parents, getting the gun and stuff like that, and then like maybe all these masked like crazy villains start to appear. That's why we've got so many of them, like the Rogues Gallery all of a sudden like appear, because they've got a masked vigilante, now they've got masked villains type thing, like these crazy villains. So that's why they like Penguin's more of a younger, like brawler type Penguin instead of like top hat, coat and tail, like businessman almost.
That'd
Penguin.
be quite cool. I'd quite like to see.
So
Brawler.
then maybe we, like you said, we get the costume change with now the gun, because the villains are getting more deadly. And he's got the gun now from getting his vengeance for his parents' death, maybe.
Yeah. It'd be quite cool to see it. What we've not had for a while is a more grounded Batman. Obviously, with what we've had with Ben Affleck's Batman in his story, you've had him with Superman. You've had him fighting Steppenwolf. You've not really had it where he is more grounded fighting just his rogues gallery, i.e., you know, the Joker or Harley Quinn or something. And I think they were the best parts of what you got from Batman. Like, some of the parts where you had in Suicide Squad, you had Bruce Wayne, you know, you had the Ben Affleck cameo.
Yeah.
And you saw him capture Deadshot, and it made him look a lot more sinister and powerful versus when you put him next to Superman or Wonder Woman.
Well, I always feel there's 2 different versions of Batman that you get. There's Batman in Gotham with the Bat family, and then there's Justice League Batman. Whereas like Justice League Batman can do anything all the time. Everyone says, oh, with enough prep work, he's the greatest superhero there ever is. Whereas like on that team, he is the least powerful member on that team, so they have to be like, he's the smartest one on the team.
Yeah.
Whereas when you see Batman in Gotham like he is, he's menacing, he's gritty, he's tortured, and like that's the better version of Batman for me. So I'm hoping that's what we get.
Yeah, more of that.
Yeah, give me young Batman, bloody year one, getting his ass handed to him half the time, but then handing people's asses to them.
Yeah, for sure. I think we can't really talk about anything to the extent that we've just talked about that. Yeah.
People are also saying that it looks like Daredevil. I don't know if we mentioned that.
You know what? I think that's just because of the red lighting.
Yeah.
Of course, it's going to look like Daredevil.
The bit across the eyes does look similar to it, like
it's
the
a cowl.
shaping of it.
It's a cowl. It's the exact
it's
same.
a half-face cowl, isn't it?
It's like if you put Daredevil in black and white and you get that same shot And
Yeah.
you know, let's forget the bat symbol on the chest for a second. If you didn't have a bat symbol on the chest and you got that same shot of Daredevil like that in black and white, say, you could say it's Batman.
It's just the ear positioning, really, is the difference, isn't it? Like,
That's it, yeah.
Ears versus horns.
All we saw the cape, the chest plate, the collar, and then we saw the very, very bottom of the mask.
Yeah.
So what you're not seeing is Daredevil horns or Batman ears,
Yeah.
and that's to be honest the main thing with that sort of what we've seen of the costume. The
So
differences.
because, like you just corrected me earlier, we haven't seen an official look of the ears yet. What size ears do you think they're going to go for? Short, long, medium?
I think with how the outfit looks, I think if it went for short ears, it'd probably look like Adam West Batman, almost like with how that cowl is. You know,
That's what I
because
was literally about to say.
I would the rendition we've got from Boss Logic.
Yeah. Boss Logic again. Great.
I think that is going to be pretty spot on. And the reason why I think it's also going to be pretty spot on is I swear that guy knows what's going on in Hollywood.
Well,
he knows
he
what's
has
going
done
on.
the official art for some things now, like Marvel get him on board to do like IMAX posters and stuff like that now.
Yeah, he's got to have some idea, man.
Yeah, he's got his
surely.
finger on the pulse. Like
Exactly.
They don't look like super long ears, but they're pretty long.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I'll go with that.
Like you said, like it does look like Adam West Batman, like year one Batman, sort of like original costume Batman, where it is like a piece of cloth over his nose almost.
Yeah.
That's why it's not like a sealed unit around his nose like most Batman suits are.
Yeah, and I mean they're not like tiny, they're not like Arkham game style long, but I think how they are on that photo is pretty spot on.
Right, that's enough.
That's enough Batman.
talk
That's
now.
enough Batman.
I could talk Batman all day.
Yeah, maybe that might hint to some future Batman episodes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
If you want to hear maybe more about the Nolan trilogy.
We've got something lined up.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
And then final little bits before we move on to Parasite.
Yep.
We got a new Stranger Things 4 trailer.
Stranger Things,
season
weirder stuff,
4.
as I like to call it.
Weirder stuff.
Yeah.
Weirder stuff season 4. It's only one shot, but Hopper's back.
Hopper is back.
Hopper is, in fact, in Russia.
I'm torn on this reveal, right? I think everybody thought he was going to come back, but the fact that you just dropped the biggest plot twist of the season in a teaser trailer, kind of like, imagine like halfway through, you're up to like episode 6, 11's in shit tons of danger, and then you know how 11 had her own episode in season 2. You're just like, new episode starts, you're in Russia. You're like, what? And then you get that shot of Hopper halfway through a season when all hope is lost. People will go mad, but instead they've dropped it in a teaser trailer.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit torn on it. Like, I'm glad to know that he will be returning.
But if you didn't drop a nod to that or something to do with it, you would be missing a marketing trick there.
Yeah, like, obviously everyone's talking about it, but it feels like they've wasted a plot twist just to...
I mean, how the
people
hell
talking on
he
Twitter.
got from where he did at the end of Strange
The
Things season 3,
portals.
the portal. But it was like a...
Because you got the tease of it at the end of season 3, though, with the post-credits.
Yeah,
so
but
why did they need to drop it in the teaser trailer?
But you saw what happened to all the other people in there. They just got disintegrated and killed. Like the other people
He
that
got
were in
pushed
that
off,
room.
though, into the portal. Didn't he? Maybe.
We'll see. Questions will be answered, no doubt.
Yeah.
Looks very... Well, I mean, we've only seen one
Also-
shot, but the fact it's in Russia is very interesting.
Have you seen the new casting as well?
I've not, no.
So, in the teaser trailer, we actually saw him, but I didn't notice because he was only on screen for a split second. You know the guy that plays the man with many faces in Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Magoulis guy?
Yes.
He's in it playing a Russian soldier.
Okay, so we're really taking this one out of Hawkins now,
Yeah.
aren't we?
We'll probably get an entire episode dedicated to Hopper in Russia.
Yeah, well, we might get an entire season dedicated to it at this
maybe.
rate.
That'll be
because
pretty cool.
you're gonna, Russia's a long way away from Hawkins, so. But I think it's gonna refresh the series a bit as well. Probably gonna give a bit of a refreshing
Maybe
look.
we see stuff going on in Hawkins, maybe, or wherever they've moved to, because
Speculation time.
yeah,
What
wild
if?
speculation.
What if from Russia he opens a portal to Hawkins?
Well,
and
there
then-
already is the portal. That's how the Demogorgon's there, and
Yeah.
he's there.
But you didn't see the portal in Russia. You
No,
just
yeah.
saw them with the Demogorgon. Oh, That was
Dog
Dog.
agrees.
Dog agrees. You see the Demogorgon at the bottom, don't you? You know. Oh, Dog.
Is whenever you say Demogorgon.
Oh my god.
Demogorgon. Stop.
No. Dog does not like Demogorgons.
No, you've shown him too much Stranger Things.
Yeah, so we see a Demogorgon, but we don't see a portal or anything. But we also, at the end of that, you don't get the reveal that Hopper's alive. You don't get Hopper at the end where it cuts to Russia. The reveal there is that there's a Demogorgon in Russia. So, yeah, I reckon it'd be cool if like they still kept the cast of that, but then maybe that's how maybe there's something going on in Hawkins and he has to communicate from Russia through a portal. Or look, we can go down the rabbit hole on this.
What I might think might happen is, as we have something going on with the kids in America, we see every episode we're keeping up with Hopper's escape, maybe. His escape, maybe finding a US embassy somewhere and then getting back to America to save last minute, or maybe he escapes and then he has to go back to the Russian camp to go through the portal.
Maybe. Very interesting. We had a couple more trailers released.
Trailer time.
Over the last week. We had the new trailer for The French Dispatch.
Yes.
The new Wes Anderson film. This film is so... Like, I've seen Isle of Dogs, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen Grand Budapest Hotel.
Grand Budapest Hotel.
This is extremely Wes Anderson. And it is like all out on cast again, isn't it?
Yeah, so he always has his
good.
rogues gallery of actors that he always works with, but now he's adding like a load of new ones as well to it.
Yeah.
So we've got Francis McDormand, we've got Timothy Chalamet, Christoph Waltz.
Yeah, William Dafoe's
He's worked with him before.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah.
Is it who's in the Batman as well?
Yes.
Is it Jeffrey Wright? Yeah. Yeah, Jeffrey Rush is a different guy. Jeffrey Wright.
You've got the woman from the Bond.
Yes.
Series.
I will never be able to remember how to pronounce her name.
No.
For the life of me. But she's in No Time
got
to Die.
loads and loads and loads of cast. Bill Murray.
Yeah. Bill Murray's back, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
His usual faces are back. Tilda Swinton, Adrian Brody.
Yeah.
This looks really good. Like you said, this looks more like Grand Budapest Hotel than any of his other films.
Mm-hmm.
It's shot in 4:3. It's got the same verticality, same set design.
Yeah,
and
all the
everything.
symmetry.
I thought maybe they were going to be related at the beginning of the trailer, and then obviously like there doesn't seem to be any ties from it since then, or the actors seem to be playing different characters completely.
Yeah.
But it just looks visually identical.
Yeah, it is like totally Wes Anderson. It's like you're watching everything through a window, aren't you? It's
Are
awesome.
you a big Wes Anderson fan?
I really like his films.
Yeah.
I watched Isle of Dogs on a plane, so I was it was just a thing on there that I watched, but I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I really like the humor in his films because it's always like quite satire.
It's very dry comedy, isn't it?
Yeah,
like
it's super dry.
Somebody will just say something and it'll just be bizarre, and like there'll be a weird pause, and then you just start laughing.
It's like the no crying above the door bit.
Yeah.
At the end of the trailer.
A subtle visual comedy, typically.
I reckon it's going to be a bit of a head mash in terms of the continuity of the film, because it looks like it flashes forward, flashes back a lot.
Yeah,
with like the black and white and stuff.
Yeah. I think it's just maybe different ways of showing different environments. He loves to use different colour palettes to display different environments.
Yeah.
So most of the black and white stuff seems to be when he's in prison, so maybe, well, not when he's in prison, when it's taking place in prison. So maybe that's a way of showing like this dull...
Yeah, stylistic thing. Yeah. Well, he can pretty much do whatever he wants.
I can't wait, though.
Yeah. It's weird. There's not been like a huge amount of talk about this film.
It's come pretty much out of nowhere. We always know that he's always working on something, but...
Do you follow him on Instagram?
I think so.
Yeah, it's like every single photo he posts is like a shot from his films.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. If you don't follow Wes Anderson on Instagram, I highly recommend it for inspiration.
Roger Deakins on Instagram. He just posts stills from films.
Oh, ace.
So stuff of his cinematography.
Follow him on
looks
Instagram.
great.
We got a new trailer for the Green Knight, which we had no idea what this was about until after we watched the trailer, but holy moly, does it look brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks so weird to begin with. Like,
yeah,
it looks like a art house film. It reminded me almost to begin with of, Macbeth that came out a few years ago with Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
It reminded me of that a lot, visually.
It's almost got a little bit of that Guy Ritchie King Arthur film vibe at the beginning, but obviously, like, the premise of the film is pretty dark. So, in a nutshell, because we've just read up on the synopsis of the film.
The tale that it's based off.
Yeah, so it's based on an Irish pagan tale.
An Arthurian legend tale, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's a night of Arthur's Round Table, and he basically gets challenged by a Green Knight to strike a blow at him, and then he would repay the favour in a year and a day.
Yeah.
So he cuts this guy's head off, this knight's head, and this knight, badass style, picks up his own head and says he'll be back in a year and a half.
Spoilers, by the way, as
well.
Yeah,
I mean, spoilers, for if you're going to watch this film.
If this film follows the same story, which it looks like it will do.
Yeah, I mean, by the time the film comes out, you're probably going to have forgot that you've heard this.
Yeah, it's also a very old tale, which probably didn't have that much context to it, but now they're going to make it into a full film, so not really spoilers, but kind of spoilers.
Yeah, so this Green Knight magically picks up his own head, says he's going to repay the favour in a year and a bit, and then this is kind of about that happening and then him coming back to basically chop this guy's head off.
Yeah, it's probably what happens in the year in between, and like they get his axe, which is apparently this like super swanky axe or something.
Yeah,
I don't really know what the driving force behind him taking on this challenge was, but wasn't it something to do? Didn't he want a princess's hand in marriage or something?
I think so, something like that. Yeah.
Either way, it looks cool. It's got Dev Patel in it. It looks absolutely badass.
Yeah, I really like the whole red text over it at the beginning.
Have you seen the poster for it as well?
No.
The poster looks incredible. So the poster is like, it's got the same text on it, but it's written like down either side, and it's the back of the head with, the circular crown from the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
It just looks amazing. Like stark red background, I think it was, with yellow text down
that
it.
First shot where his head just lights up on fire. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, the crown slowly descends onto his head, and then his head sets on fire.
It's like every heavy metal fan's favourite film in the making, this.
It looked like Joe Manganiello's D&D clothing brand, Death Saves. It looked like half of their merch.
Yeah.
There's one of like this like dead king, like the skeletal king with a big crown, like on a throne, and it looked just like that.
What's that called? Death
Saves.
Death Saves. I'm going to save that. Check out later.
Mate, his merch is so good. I want so many pieces from it, but it's so expensive. Like it costs you like £30 to get it shipped to the UK. It's already like $50 for a t-shirt.
It's the bad thing about living in the UK. Customs charges. Oh, I hate you. And then last two little bits of things. Aladdin 2 is happening for anyone who cares.
Did you see Aladdin?
No.
No, neither did I. Next one.
It's a new writing team, apparently, so there's maybe a little bit more hope.
Is Guy Ritchie back?
I don't know, just a new writing team. That's all.
Is Will Smith back? Will Smith's obviously back.
He's the genie, man.
Yeah,
of course he'll be back.
He's got to be back.
And then Billie Eilish released a theme for No Time to Die.
Have you heard it?
I have heard it. Have you heard it?
Yeah, it sounds good. It sounds good.
It sounds like a Bond theme.
If you follow me on Twitter, you'll see my opinion was that shit slapped.
There's two swears there to
yeah, you can bleep them out. Like just take the S word out, but everyone knows what I said, really.
You know what? I kind of like it. To me, it's a great Bond theme. As a song, man, it's boring. I'm gonna be like that da, 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 that rise in chords and stuff. That
musicality, I get.
Yeah,
that's kind of like Billie Eilish's thing almost, though. Like,
yeah,
because she did used to make a lot of her stuff herself, just on her laptop. Like it is basic stuff, and it's what she does around it, type thing.
Yeah,
I still think
when you listen to it, you can see the Bond intro in your head.
Yeah,
you can see it happening, can't you? Like Skyfall, you can see it, and
the lyrics are very
Spectre.
poignant to what we've seen in the trailer and everything.
Exactly. Cool. Dogs.
The dogs are
crazy.
Eating this storm.
Some would say an Isle of Dogs trying to escape from Storm Dennis.
Right.
Denise, sorry.
Storm Denise.
Let's all just calm down.
Yeah. So, should we get onto the meat and bones of this episode? Like an hour into it?
Absolutely.
This is going to take some cutting down, probably.
So, Parasite.
Yeah, we watched Parasite.
We watched it, subtitles and all, because I can't speak Korean.
Have we talked about the Oscars yet? Yeah, we talked about it last No,
we haven't.
Okay.
We can't, Chris. We do not have time to do an Oscars
no,
episode.
but real quick, Parasite won Best Picture.
Yes,
It was
Best
the first-
Director as well. Didn't
First
it?
foreign language film to win Best Picture.
And proper well deserved. Absolutely well deserved.
Bong Joon Ho.
Yes, absolutely. You can probably
Fantastic.
already guess that our first impressions of this film are absolutely sky high.
Yeah.
We really rate this film. So we're going to talk a little bit about the film spoiler free. So if you wanted to get a bit of an insight on this film before you watch it and find out whether it's worth a watch, absolutely listen through. And then we're going to get on spoilers, but we will give a little bit of warning before we do that, so that if you want to go watch the film and then come back and carry on listening to this episode to support your good mates and get real,
Thank you so much.
you've got that option there. So yeah, he sweeps the awards for this.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, last night when I was at my girlfriend's, we were watching E! Entertainment.
Yeah.
For some really weird reason,
Okay.
and they had the Oscar red carpet thing on it yesterday, and I just caught the bit of Bong Joon Ho when he was going in, and he's just so humble.
Yeah.
He's so humble. It's
Did
unreal.
you see the clip of him? Like, he stopped to like admire the Oscar, and he almost forgot that he was stood on stage in front of thousands of people. He's like almost like in tears, like looking at this Oscar when he won his first one.
And then he forced his I say forced. He got his translator to translate like a really nice compliment about her to an interviewer on the red carpet.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, he was like, honestly, this guy is like.
So I think
Yeah,
the
he's-
translator is one of the producers or co-writer.
No, she's an aspiring filmmaker.
Yeah, so she said
Yeah.
as soon as like award season's over, she's going to make a film about award season in Hollywood.
Yeah. It's
But she
class.
had something to do with Parasite as well. She wasn't just his translator.
Yeah, it's really nice. Like the whole thing of this film is, not only is it a really nice film, but the people around it as well are
Yeah.
just so like down to earth.
I think
and cool.
he was so surprised that he ended up winning. Like, he was winning all the awards for like foreign language film or film not in the English language, international film. He was winning all of those, but I don't think he expected to walk away with any of the big ones.
No, for sure.
So he
For
was
sure.
so breathtaking and so humble, and like he kept ending every award speech like thinking that he wasn't going to win the next one. He was like, I'm just going to go start drinking now.
Yeah,
He was just like,
yeah.
I'm going to go get drunk. Oh, I'm going to go get drunk.
He said that like
He
five
must-
times.
He must
Yeah.
have been bladdered by the time they won Best Picture.
Yeah. So I didn't realize, because I watched Snowpiercer like a few weeks ago. I didn't realize he did Snowpiercer.
Yeah.
I also didn't realize he did Okja, and both of those films are really good as well.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen Okja? No,
I've not seen
No, but you've
Okja.
seen Snowpiercer.
Yeah, I know the story of Okja, but I haven't seen
Yeah,
it.
real heavy films, man. Maybe not as much Snowpiercer. Snowpiercer is just like a good action film.
Snowpiercer actually has a lot more in common with Parasite. They tackle similar themes. It's more on the nose
Yeah,
for a Western audience. It's not as subtle.
It tackles the more high class versus the low class, doesn't it?
It's a more blatant way of delivering the same message. Like in Snowpiercer, you're fighting from economy to first class.
Yeah, and then Okja's a bit more about like the lower class. It does the same thing, to be fair. It's like the lower class, like the farmers and stuff, and then the higher class who are the corporations who benefit. But it's all this big underlying theme of meat farming and stuff like that, and and how this girl like befriends the animal and stuff. But
the giant pig.
yeah, but both, like I said, that and Snowpiercer are both incredibly good films. And I didn't know that until after I'd watched Parasite and did a bit of research on Joon Ho before we did this.
So I rewatched Snowpiercer after watching Parasite.
Yeah,
Because I hadn't seen all of it, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and like watch it all. That's a great film.
yeah,
But
they're all.
it's
like,
not as subtle. Like the visual storytelling isn't as good.
Yeah.
As
It's probably
Parasite.
an easier watch for more Western audiences, Snowpiercer, and also it's available on Netflix for us in the UK.
It's on Amazon Prime.
on
It's
Amazon,
not on Netflix.
Sorry, on Amazon Prime for us in the UK as well. So
Not a sponsor.
no, not a sponsor. We
Although,
wish. Yeah,
Amazon.
Amazon. If
If you want to give us an affiliate link.
if you do fancy it, that's something we could probably look at.
Oh, okay.
Business talk on the podcast
Yeah.
for a second. Back to Parasite. Yeah, Snowpiercer is a much easier watch for Western audiences.
Have you also noticed how the actor in Parasite I've not got his name, and I'm probably going to
Who
butcher it.
does he play?
So he plays the dad, the driver.
Okay, yeah.
In Parasite. He is in all of Bong Joon Ho's films.
Okay, cool.
And he took him to all the awards ceremonies with him as
Oh,
well.
nice.
Okay.
Look,
Kang-ho song.
Oh, okay,
They're
you
pretty
nailed
easy,
that
one. I just had to brace myself.
Chris brushed up on his Korean before he started
I
recording
did
this
indeed.
episode here.
Do you know what? I
Listen
know
to all
so
that
many
K-pop.
I do listen to K-pop, and I also watch loads of gaming stuff, and obviously South Korea is massive on that.
Yeah.
So I know plenty of people from South Korea. I just normally know their Instagram or the Twitter handles or the gaming profile names, not the actual real names.
Yeah.
Like London Spitfire from Overwatch were all Korean. So he is in all of Bong Joon Ho's films. He plays, the guy that opens all the doors for them in Snowpiercer.
Oh, the guy who's is this the guy who takes the drugs?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
what
he doesn't really want the drugs. He wants them as a bomb to escape the train.
Spoiler alert for Snowpiercer.
So
after we recommended you to go watch it.
I mean, we're spoiling Snow. It's a 5-year-old film now.
Well, yeah. Go watch it.
It also didn't get a mass UK release in the cinemas.
No.
But now that Parasite has done so well, there's rumours that it might be getting a cinema release.
I was wondering where I recognised him from when I was watching the film. I swear,
and he was also in The Host, and I think he was in Okja, but I don't.
Yeah, I'll have to see who he plays in Okja. So do you want to give your elevator pitch for this film, non-spoilers?
Okay.
To get a bit of an idea. Obviously, the themes and stuff of his films stay pretty much the same.
Yeah, I think that you will get more from this film. Possibly you'll notice more sort of things if you do know the themes going into the film. So we'll tell you about that in a minute. But, okay, elevator pitch. It's a film about the wealth gap and the interaction between different classes within Korean culture. It's not just Korean culture, it's the entire world, but based around Korean culture. So we have a young lad who is part of a poor family who live in a semi-basement, and he gets a job as an English tutor, and then it's sort of how the family deal with trying to get more jobs with this rich family.
Spot on.
Is how I would say it, with no spoilers involved, because this film takes a twist at literally exactly the halfway point of the film.
Exactly,
takes a massive twist, which
spot
was
on.
phenomenal.
Yeah. This film, I think one thing I've noted down here is that what I didn't realise watching it would demand so much of my attention. And I think it let me give the film the time and the appreciation because of the subtitles. So with having subtitles, like when I put a film on or something, when I stream something, I'll always be doing something else, for editing, whatever, and might put it on in the background. But you can't do that with this film because if you're just listening to something happen, you have no idea. If you don't speak Korean, you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
So what I ended up doing was I ended up putting my laptop down and just really solidly watching this.
That's what I did,
yeah. And because you're always paying attention. Now with the version I watched, because it didn't have a wide cinema release until very recently.
Yeah, now that it's won the awards, it's getting a UK release.
Yeah, and also to touch on that, a lot of the cinema chains in the UK now are doing more foreign language films.
Yeah.
Like there's a girl at work who's from Lithuania, and she's going and seeing a film that is a Lithuanian movie.
Okay.
That is being released at an Odeon near us.
Okay.
So that was really cool.
So Parasite is going to be premiering in our local Cineworld. I noticed that it's actually airing from today.
Yeah, so that's class. So we could probably go rewatch it. The point that I was getting at is that the stream that I was watching it on, it was slightly behind. The subtitles were always a sentence behind what was actually being said. So that really demanded my attention then. But because of that, I kept with what was going on in the film, and I got a way better experience out of it.
Yeah, I think because it is subtitled, you have to pay attention to the dialogue, like you said.
Yeah.
And it means that I think certain lines you read more into because you're able to visually read it, and then so you're understanding your own version of what they're saying, and then you're seeing it as well.
So the family at the beginning, so when this film starts, it's like you say, it's about two families. It's about a well-off family, a rich family, and a poor family. And I think the way it shows that visually, like they live in this kind of basement, and it's got the people that are pissing outside and stuff like that. And
so that's a common thing in Korea is semi-basements.
yeah,
So it's basically subterranean living. Obviously, like most buildings have basements and stuff like that, so they turn them into tiny apartments. They are literally like near enough squalor, like they are for the lowest people. But the fact that they are semi above ground and typically have a window it's sort of like a social thing. Like you still think there's hope. You still feel like you're part of the world. You're not completely underground.
yeah. And the whole like Wi-Fi thing at the beginning, like looking for like to get onto somebody else's Wi-Fi
trying to find
connection.
the one spot to find it.
Yeah, it just like pulls you in straight away. Really, it's good. And there's so many like bits of this film which are just so visually iconic, like the bit where they find the signal and it's near the toilet, and the toilet's like raised up from the ground.
That was such like a weird thing. Like I was thinking, if I had to use that toilet, I probably couldn't sit on it without like putting my head between my legs almost.
Yeah,
because it's like raised up a platform. Because obviously that was probably the only way that the sewage would run in the apartment type thing.
Yeah,
like,
and you only ever saw that room from that perspective. As well, that was
shot
really
through the doorway, wasn't it?
Yeah, and there was a lot of bits like that where.
Oh no, you did see another shot. It was later on in the film when the daughter was trying to close the toilet lid.
Yeah,
that was the only time.
Yeah, but like the hallway and stuff, you only really tend to see them from certain angles, apart from now and then, like the table shot and stuff, and. Yeah, like this family making pizza boxes, like to make
just
a
to
living
earn
and
any
stuff.
sort of pennies.
Yeah, and then obviously as we get on in the film, we progress and stuff.
There's an interesting like background element to like that storyline as well with the pizza company and stuff, which was kind of subtle. So as soon as they get employed elsewhere, like the son gets the tutoring job, they go to the pizza place, but this time as customers, and you can see almost like they just toss the pizza at them almost like the begrudgingly, like, so they've gone from being below them to being above them, so to speak. And so this film tackles like obviously the class divide, but also how people in lower classes are made to sort of fight amongst themselves, like to get ahead in life. Like people don't seem to build each other up. Like people think if you get to a certain elevation, you should help the people where you came from. Yeah. But the way the world is, it wants you to beat those people back down and like basically become the people above them. Yeah. To keep everything in order, which is something that Snowpiercer tackles more heavily.
Yeah, for sure. Really interesting bit of trivia for this. At the Oscars, it was Wolfgang Puck who did the catering. You can tell I got really into watching this entertainment.
Okay, what's the significance of Wolfgang Puck?
The catering that they did for the Oscars was Korean pizza.
Oh,
yeah, they did some Korean pizza for catering.
That was like a little subtle hint. So like obviously they know before the award ceremony who was won.
Yeah. Okay. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
little callback.
At first, interesting.
It was like 10 o'clock at night, and I was half asleep, and I was like, Korean pizza. I was like, what? What's that? What this? I said this Wolfgang guy's off it, and then I realized, oh yeah, it's because they built all the pizza boxes at the beginning. Yeah. But yeah, and then obviously as the film goes on, we've got, we don't want to get too plot heavy and stuff now.
There is so much of this film is spoilers. Like we said, there's a twist at the halfway point.
Yeah, you're honestly best watching this film not knowing anything.
Yeah.
You're best going completely dry into this film. Absolutely.
I didn't have a clue what I was going. Like, yeah. I knew there was a twist, and I knew like the film took a weird, darker turn. Yeah. Because it is pitched as like a dark comedy thriller.
Yeah, and also
I didn't have a clue where it was going.
Yeah, and I almost was like at the beginning, I was kind of getting where the comedy was, but I wasn't, because another guy in work told me that he'd seen a clip of this film, and it's not relevant, not really significant, but it's the bit where that Ki Won sees the young kid from the poor family, sees that painting on the wall.
Yeah,
and then he's like, "Oh, is it a chimpanzee?" And then the mum's like, "No, it's a self-portrait." But it's so dry, and it's that there's that dark comedy there. Yeah,
and like, so I like even that. I don't think I laughed out loud.
It's like a mental laugh.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Yeah,
like when they keep saying how the daughter would make an amazing con artist.
Yeah, for sure.
Like she's really good at forgery. If they gave diplomas for forgery, she would get them every day.
And it's weird how it's almost like you get a vibe of what they're saying, but with us, because it's subtitles, it's almost like you find something funny when you're reading a book. It's almost like that. But
you don't really have any sort of external expression to it being funny, do you?
Yeah.
But the funny thing is about that is the French poster looks like a proper comedy. Like it looks like a John Cena, like what is it, the firefighters or something like that. Fighting fires it is. Like it's like a blue background with all the characters in like doing like wacky positions and stuff like that. And then all the other ones are like, like the main poster for it is like there's legs sticking out of somewhere, like somebody's been killed, like they've all got their eyes barred out and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then the French version is they clearly saw dark comedy and like, right, let's make a comedy poster. It's like that does not suit this film in the slightest.
No, for sure. It's one of those things as well, like where the twists and turns this film makes, like they're just so out there. They're so shocking, and you kind of don't realize where they're going to be. Like you said, it's really at the halfway point that it's like
literally at the halfway point.
Yeah,
when you hear that big sound effect, and then
and the film becomes something else entirely, and it's so good. And the vibe you've got throughout this whole movie is like slightly tense all the time. Like bits where the classes and stuff are going on, and then people have got suspicions and stuff like that as well, but they've not. And it's just got such a weird vibe, but almost like just seriously tense vibe throughout it.
Also, I would pay attention if you're going to go see this. If you haven't watched it yet, pay attention to like visuals. There are repeated like visual trends in it which really drive home sort of the themes of the film. So notice how camera movements are and framing of shots and what characters seem to do repeatedly. Look at stuff like that, and it'll really, I think that's where a lot of the theme is pushed. Which is subtle. Most people would miss it.
Yeah, there's a really weird like romantic, a little bit of a romance in this film between two characters that at the end, after it doesn't really get addressed. I don't think. I think that's maybe something that could have been really like emotionally hitting.
Yeah,
but at the beginning it touches on it really well. Like, it's. I don't want to talk too much because I don't want to talk about. Honestly, you're best going in this film not knowing anything about what happens in it, because you can make that then for yourself. But
I think we just need to move on to spoilers now.
Go
watch the film. What would you give it out of 10?
Oh, it's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Honestly, this film is so good, and don't let the fact that it's subtitled put you off, and don't let the fact that it's, if you're not with like people like me, I won't go watch a horror film. I won't do it. And you might get a vibe that this film's going to have bits of that, but it is just so good, and you need to watch it to really appreciate it, why it won. And when you've gone and watched, like us, we went and watched Birds of Prey a week ago.
Yeah.
Right? And then I watched this, and I was like, no, that's a film.
Yeah.
So that's just an action feel-good movie. You get a bit of a spectacle.
You turn your brain off for it. Like
this, like, really makes you think.
It just made me want to watch more things with deep themes, which, like, I love themes being addressed in ways that aren't obvious.
Let me tell you about a theme before we move on to spoilers, because this is something that you can watch out for when you watch this film. That I was chatting with some of the other guys that I know that are into film and TV and stuff, and a bit more analytical when they watch these things. And they were talking about there's a theme in this film of crossing the line, between characters and between stature, and obviously the whole film is really they're crossing a line, aren't they?
Yeah.
So at parts where this happens, like there's a bit where a housekeeper wakes someone up at the beginning, if you get what I'm talking about, and there is a window frame that is down and it goes between the two characters.
A literal line.
It is literally a line, and what you have is when she snaps her fingers next to her.
Yeah, she like claps in her face. Doesn't she?
Yeah. Well, clipping the mics. Yeah, but she claps next to the mum's ear to wake her up. But when she does that, she crosses the line, visually line. And there's the bit in the little romance bit, right, like close towards the beginning with two of the characters. I think behind them is like a line in the room of where like the wall in the room matches
the framing
up.
is so important.
Yeah, and then when that happens, when like the kiss or whatever happens, or there's like a tense moment, that again is them crossing that line.
Yeah,
and it's a constant theme throughout. So when you know, no doubt I'll rewatch this. It's also a film that I probably would highly recommend watching in a cinema.
Yeah.
Like a bit like 1917.
Just devote your entire attention to this film.
You don't want to be distracted because you don't want to miss anything dialogue wise, but also you need to give this film the respect it needs when you watch it.
I'm definitely going to go see it in cinema now that it's released in cinema.
The more
they're thinking about releasing a black and white version, which is what Bong Joon Ho apparently originally wanted it.
They're also releasing a HBO spin-off series for this film.
Yeah, based in the US though, isn't it?
Yeah.
With Mark Ruffalo in it, I believe.
Yeah, and Tilda Swinton.
Oh, Tilda Swinton as well.
Let me fact check this very, very quick.
Bong Joon Ho worked with Tilda Swinton in Snowpiercer.
Yeah, Tilda Swinton, NME, reported Tilda Swinton to star in HBO's Parasite TV adaptation.
Yeah, I don't think it needs it. Like, I'll be fine with it being one and done. Like,
so is Bong Joon Ho doing this?
I don't know if how much he's involved with that.
Oh, he's revealing details, though.
So maybe he is doing it.
Yeah, it's on CNET that Bong Joon Ho reveals more details around the HBO series. So, look, now that this is going to be his career-making film. He's won Oscars for it. Yeah. Everyone's going to be jumping onto this.
I mean, he's had a great career since. I think the first one that I heard of was The Host. And like since then, he has been in the limelight for everything that he's done. People have been excited for his films to come out.
I didn't ask you what would you rate this film? Would you give
10
it
out of 10?
10
out of 10.
Yeah.
No questions asked. Okay, spoilers. We just need to talk about this film.
Need properly. To move on. Look, you've got to give this film the time it deserves when you watch it. We've got to give it the time it deserves on this podcast.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
3, 2, 1. Spoilers right now.
Switch
spoilers.
It off. Go watch the film and come back. Okay, right. A lot happens at the halfway point of this film.
Yeah.
Holy crap, there's so much.
And there literally is like, so you have like the resolve of these guys like living in the house now. And then the halfway point is such a loud sound effect. There's a huge doorbell sound.
Yeah.
And that is when the film snaps and changes.
I mean, there's so much that like leads up to it, how they the family basically push their luck trying to they all try and get jobs with this rich family, right? The rich family, he owns this tech company or whatever, and there's a driver, there's a housekeeper, there's, and the kids start by giving them lessons. And it's all a big act, it's all a big facade. They pretend they don't know each other, so they get rid of the people and then move them in.
Yeah.
And they absolutely
viciously take it over. Okay, let me ask you something then. What is the parasite in this film?
Oh, the parasite is it's the way you look at it, right? Either the parasite is the poor family that are infecting their way in and then taking over, like a parasite does, or is the parasite the guy that's living in the basement and those two that are like, they're embedded into
What would
house.
you say if I told you that Bong Joon Ho actually wishes he called this film Parasites?
Yeah, it's
because also the rich family are the parasites.
Okay, talk to me.
They feed off everything that the lower classes are doing for them.
That's a very interesting way of looking at it, Chris.
Yeah.
Very interesting way of looking at it.
Like you said, so there's the parasite that's already embedded in there. There's the housekeeper's husband living in the basement.
Yeah.
There's this new family, literally, viciously, they almost kill the housekeeper to get rid of her.
Yeah, literally.
Through her allergies of peaches.
Yeah.
And then the rich family, everything things they take for granted in everyday life. he thinks that the lights illuminate as he walks up the stairs. He thinks that they're based off sensors, and they say that the sensor's twitching, but it's not. It's the guy in the basement is switching the lights on for him every day.
It's so weird.
And he's sending him messages through Morse code as well.
Yeah, holy shit. That bit where it's all kicked off.
Yeah.
And he's sending that Morse code message to that kid, and you see the kids reading it. And, oh man, and then they're escaping. I was on pins.
Yeah.
I've not felt that way watching a movie for a real long time.
It was so suspenseful. Like, and I saw like how long was left of the film. I was like, what else can happen? What else can go wrong here?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's almost like it's all like happy families and stuff, and it's quite clever how it shows them. Like they go to, you get an idea of how poor this family is because they go into like the what is it, like a soup kitchen?
Yeah, it's like a food bank soup kitchen.
Yeah, it's like one of those versions of a soup kitchen.
Yeah,
and it's like they can just have more food, and it's like then they can get stuff and take it home, and they believe it's all this big rock and everything that's giving them luck and stuff, which ends up coming back and biting one of them hitting one of them on the head and going, literally. But
it takes a really graphic turn at the end.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
It like builds and builds and builds, and then they're eventually the family go on the camping trip, and then they're really kind of pushing it by.
Okay, so we were talking about like visual things in this film. Okay, so I want to go through a few of them in order. Windows. So the first shot of the film is through their
97?
subterranean.
98?
No, Windows XP.
Oh, sorry. How stupid of me.
No, so the opening shot is through the subterranean window, and Bong Joon Ho says like one of the major things like like I discussed earlier, these subterranean houses are like they still give you a little glimpse of hope. They get like a tiny bit of sunlight through, and it's so fleeting between the buildings into the basement. So the opening shot is the sunlight pouring through, but the guy living in the basement is so even below that, like he's got literally nothing. He's living off scraps. He's like devoid of all sunlight. He hasn't seen the sunlight in years, which is why when he comes out, he's like holding his eyes and everything because he's not used to seeing sunlight. And the rich family have that huge like windowed wall, which when you see the poor family living in their house while they're on the camping trip, you get that shot of them looking through the window.
Yeah.
And you see lots of stuff happening through the window.
Yeah.
Because it's like, so they've got like a tiny window and the rich family have a huge one. They're more connected to the outside world. They're not being closed off from anything.
It's quite interesting how this film portrays a villain, because at first you don't think it's the poor family, and then as the film goes on, and as you start to see them, like plant that evidence that the driver gets sacked, and then obviously the peaches and stuff that they get rid of the housekeeper, and then it's almost at the point where they're sat round and it's like they're being really disrespectful to the rich people's house, that you start to think, well, I mean, you think that a little bit earlier, depending on where you stand with it, but you then start to feel like they're the bad guys. And then as it starts to get worse with like the housekeeper and stuff, it starts to get a lot worse. And you start to realise that it sits you on a fence, like a really weird moral fence of, these poor people don't deserve to be the lower class. Nobody does. Nobody deserves to live in poverty at all. But then how these people react to when they get a good trip, really. You know what I mean? They have it all right, being able to work and stuff like that, and it's better than what they were doing. They're getting a good income, but then how they push that. And it's a real weird moral compass, this film, because then obviously the housekeeper, you've got someone who's just looking after the husband and stuff.
But why were they in so much debt? It's because they were a lower class, and the wealth, like the debt collectors came and they literally had nothing. They're hiding in the basement so that debt collectors won't find them. Yeah, like they're becoming like the animals that the higher classes think they are. Yeah, which is something that he addressed more openly in Snowpiercer, where the lower classes like at one. Oh, okay, so spoiler alert again for Snowpiercer. Like the lower classes like started cannibalizing. They started eating other lower class people just so that they could survive. Yeah. And like there's the heartbreaking moment where like Chris Evans reveals that like he had to find out that babies taste the nicest and stuff like that. Like
that's
they
brutal.
were literally breeding to feed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the film, when he Waylon offers him control of the train, he wants him to become a higher class and keep the lower people down. Like as soon as you escape that lower class, they expect you to see the lower class as the lower class, and like everyone should be in their lane type thing.
Yeah.
Everyone should stay behind the line and not cross the line, which is what we were saying.
Yeah.
About
and it's
Parasite,
like
don't cross the line.
Yeah, and there's points where they kind of like the driver. There's a point where the dad's in the back of the car and they're almost having that nice conversation, and then it kind of hits reality, and again he's like eyes on the road.
Yeah.
You know, bits like that.
Just to put him back in his place.
Yeah.
And he says that to the wife, like he's like, he does so well to like, I keep thinking he's going to cross the line, but then he doesn't. But his smell crosses the line as well. There's a lot of talking about like the way that the lower class smells.
Yeah.
So you noticed at the end, so after crap goes down in the back garden, people are being stabbed and killed and everything like that. So the guy from the basement, like who's just gone crazy at this point.
Yeah, this is like right towards the end of the film, yeah.
So he the poor dad's daughter the poor daughter is bleeding out, and all the rich dad cares about is getting the keys off him so that he can go save his son. Doesn't care about like anything else. So eventually,
which is also set up by the thing earlier on where they talk about you have 15 minutes
to get into the hospital, otherwise he'll die from this like
Seizure.
epileptic seizure. Yeah. So
she's bleeding out. He throws the keys.
Yeah. So he throws the keys, but they land underneath like the poor guy that's been stabbed.
Yeah.
And then, like in the middle of like lifting up this guy, he even stops himself just to cover his own nose because he can't stand the smell of poor people.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? Because
like,
there's a point
disgust
where
from the rich family to the poor people.
Yeah, you hear about the dad at the beginning, but you don't. He's set up to be this like hard, hard guy, and then you see him and he's like this really down to earth kind of cool kind of.
When he's on the walkie-talkies with his son.
Yeah, he's actually quite nice. And then obviously you have those like you said, and the bit where he's saying to the driver, the poor dad, to just do it as part of his job, like play the Indian, and it's like that bit of like, it's like that nastiness comes out.
That's another thing as well. Okay, so this is another one of the themes, is like they use Native American culture a lot, which is like they were a culture that were essentially wiped out by the rich white elite when they came and conquered America.
Yeah.
And that is just something juvenile. They bought all this, like it's turned into a commercial commodity for the child. Like he's really into Indians at the moment. They call him like they don't even call them Native Americans for like the first half of the film. They're calling them Indians, which is like derogatory. So it's like, oh, he's really obsessed with like American Indians. So we've bought him like headdresses and teepees and all this sort of stuff, and we're turning it into a theme. Like this downtrodden culture in America is now just a theme for a kid's birthday party.
Yeah,
and so that's resembling like the poorer classes. So when he makes the poor dad put the headdress on, and he's like, oh, just act like you're one of them for now. He's just there like pretend like you're like this down and out poor person, and like somebody's gonna try and come and kill you essentially.
And he is this down and out.
There's so many themes in this. Okay, and then like the last like real like visual thing that I want to talk about is staircases.
Oh man, before you talk about what you're talking about, when they cut back to where the kid had the seizure, and he had that childhood experience
with
where
the ghost.
Yeah, the ghost that lives under the house, and you saw that freaking guy's face pop up from the staircase. Oh man,
with the widest eyes in the world, like he looked like a ghost.
Yeah, so horrifying.
I knew as soon as I was watching that, I was like, that's the point where Sam absolutely crapped himself.
I was like, what? And it's not even a jump scare. It's just
he just slowly ascends with these menacing eyes.
It's just so disturbing.
It reminded me of like The Ring and The Grudge.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, like that proper. Yeah. It reminded me of like Eastern like J horror. So good.
Yeah, so brutal.
I can't remember the name of the artist, but there's an artist that does loads of like J horror comic books.
Yeah.
and his stuff is all like that. Like when he wants someone to look creepy and distorted, it's like an emotionless face with these huge eyes. Like his eyes actually looked Photoshop. If you notice, like there doesn't seem to be any eyelids or anything.
Well,
because it's like the children's perspective. It's just pure balls, like
pure
balls.
white as well. Yeah, it's just so freaky, so freaky.
So yeah, staircases. The rich are always ascending staircases, and you notice whenever people are getting anywhere. So, like, obviously, you have to go down to get to a basement, and you have to go up the hill to get to the rich people's house.
Yeah,
so that's like the first time you see straight away in like the first 2 minutes. You see like this diametric opposition. Like you have to go down to a basement or up on a hill to get to this fancy house.
Yeah,
but then obviously like you have everyone living in the basement and like descending into the basement and then into the secret basement, which is done with one straight camera shot. But then whenever people are ascending, so when he first gets the job as the tutor, so she gives him a small interview and then she's like, okay, can I observe you first class? And he ascends to the second floor. So you always notice the higher classes going up and the lower classes are always going down.
Yeah, there's loads of visual storytelling in
the way they had to escape the house when they were asleep on the couch. They had to crawl and then go down.
And then they go down those stairs outside as well.
So when the
like
storm's
raining.
hitting, water always flows down.
Yeah. Before we get onto the storm bit, when you were talking about the escape, that was another bit where it was just when they were all hid under the desk.
Under the coffee table.
Under the coffee table. And you had the...
so tense.
Oh, man. There was so much tension in that bit. So much tension. Where the phone's vibrating, he's like... And then she's having to, like, cough to hide it.
Yeah.
And then... Because she's the only one that can be seen at that point.
Yeah, the housekeeper.
Yeah, and then... Oh, and then again, you get the smell thing where you can smell something.
Yeah, he's like, I can smell the driver. Can you not smell that?
You can smell him on my clothes or something.
Because he doesn't
like
even
that.
call him by his name. He's like, I can smell the driver.
Yeah, and then you've got that really whole, like, tense little, like, third base scene or fourth base scene.
I think it's implied that they full on shag.
Yeah.
Like, but the role playing as, like, this poor girl and the driver, like the poor classes are just a taboo fetish for them.
Yeah.
He's like, have you still got those cheap underwear that we found?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's so horrible because she's under that desk, that table, listening to it, and they manage to escape. But then there's the bit where the walkie-talkie comes on as the dad is like there lying on the floor, and it's that bit where you can see his feet. Right, and he's just there. He's just got his face down, and he's like, you hear the walkie-talkie, and he's talking, and then he just creeps, like,
he has to drag himself.
Yeah, and then that whole basement bit was so tense as well. The bit when you get the first death was brutal. But yeah, the whole rain thing where their house gets flooded was crazy.
So I talk about like how water always runs down. And, like, they have to descend from the hill, then descend down another set of stairs and everything. And, like, the water's just following them. And it's getting, the storm's getting worse and worse as they're lowering and lowering down. And then you find out that their subterranean house is completely flooded.
Yeah.
It's like all hope is lost for these guys. So then, like, they invite the tutors, so the two children, to the party while they're, like, in a football or a school hall or a football stadium or something, like, and there's thousands of people there, like their homes have been ruined and they're washed out, their entire life is gone, and then the rich wife is just there like, I'm so glad for that storm, like it's washed all the pollution out of the air. Like the storm was a good thing for them, and then there was nothing like wrong for them, whereas they don't care. They are oblivious to the fact that thousands of people have lost their homes and lives.
And they've just like woke up at this shelter and then just go straight back to work, like digging the clothes out of a pile to wear and stuff and go. And that we assume that the housekeeper dies from her concussion, right?
So her head's bleeding. Yeah. When the wife kicks her back down the stairs, she hits. I thought her neck was snapped. Like there's a crunch there.
We assume that she dies, and that's why the husband who lived below, he goes mental and
he just breaks.
Snaps. Yeah.
So he's sending him the message through Morse code by slamming his head
slamming
into it.
his
So he's
head
got blood
on
already down his face and everything. He's tied up.
Oh man! And when that kid he trips over, doesn't he? He slips, and then is that where the key wound? So he slips, doesn't he? And then
he gets up so he drops the rock down the thing to begin with.
Yeah,
giving away his position. So then he runs back up, slips. No. So the poor guy wrapped the cord that he was tied up with around his neck, doesn't he?
Yeah,
and he's running up the stairs and it's following it behind him. And I was like, he's going to pull this and he's going to pull him down the stairs by his neck or something.
Yeah, it was like it was. Yeah, and then he picks
up
like
the
a
rock. Chase in a
rock.
horror film.
He picks up the rock and throws it.
How did he survive that? 2 hits on the head from a rock like that.
Brutal. So brutal. And then obviously the last few bits, because we'll have to try and wrap this up in a minute. Like you got the party at the end, all that violence and stuff, where the young poor daughter gets killed, and then you've just got all that chaos going on. It's so heavy. Like at that point, that's like the penultimate of the film.
And then so when he finds out that his dad's living in the basement, he's like watching the house, which is creepy enough as it is. But then he sees that his dad's sending him Morse code one night.
Yeah, I really liked this ending bit because it was almost like a fake out where it shows his intent, but it almost suggests that he did buy the house, but then it's not. It's just he's saying that he will.
Yeah, but then it's got the same repeated camera shot that happens at the beginning of the film, looking through the subterranean window, and then it just lowers, and you've got no light in the scene at all, and it's just this guy in a basement, and it's just, Bong Joon Ho said it was just like, just to kill any hope in the viewer that he actually succeeds in it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a nail in the coffin. But if you notice in the speech, he says when he buys the house, he says to his dad when he buys the house, all he'll have to do is just walk up the stairs.
And ascend.
Yeah.
Oh, what a film. What a film.
Such a deep film.
Honestly, such a film. So we've been so lucky to have so many really good films.
It's been another fantastic year in film.
We've had like Marriage Story, we've had this, we've had The Lighthouse that we've not managed to watch yet.
It just sounds like we're just like every week we're like, oh, this is like the best film ever. Oh, this is the best film of the year.
It's only because we choose to talk about the good films so far.
But there's so many of them, you can't do anything but like love all these films.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh man.
I suppose we have to wrap it up sooner or later.
I'm just excited for whatever Bong Joon Ho does next.
Yeah. I'll if he's behind this HBO series, I'll definitely.
And I like Mark Ruffalo as well.
Yeah.
Or there was another trailer came out that I saw. Okay, so I was going to bring this up earlier, completely forgot. We were talking about The Green Knight, Dev Patel. I went to see David Copperfield. Personal History of David Copperfield. That's a really good film, really charming, but it is erratic. Like, it's so hard trying to keep up with the pace with it, and every character is bizarre.
I think we can compare it a bit to Uncut Gems, didn't we, at the beginning? Yeah.
Yeah, it's erratic. I forgot the connection.
No?
Oh, so when I went to see that, I saw a trailer for Dark Waters with Mark Ruffalo in, where he's playing a lawyer who defends a small town that's been poisoned by a company in America. It's based on real events. It's the same people that made Spotlight, I think. So it's just Mark Ruffalo doing the same thing that he did in that, essentially. Yeah. Based off real events again. That looks pretty damn good. That was a new trailer that came out this week as well.
Awesome. Cool. And that tops us off for this episode.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell people where they can find us?
Yes, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at GetRealPod. You can find us on Facebook as well, Get Real Podcast. And you can send us an email on getrealpoduk@gmail.com. And I didn't mess that up this time.
No, you got it right this time.
Do you want to tell us where we can listen to us?
Well, you lovely listeners, you can check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and wherever you choose to listen to your podcasts. Please support us by leaving us a review, rating, anything you can to help drive ourselves up the charts. That'd be fantastic. Share it with a friend.
Share it with 2 friends.
Share it with 3 friends if you're lucky enough.
If everybody shares this with 3 friends, we can triple our listenership.
I could quit my job, Chris.
Yeah, we can quit our jobs, become full-time podcasters. Where's that Dollar Shave Club money?
Yeah, hell yeah. And also, yeah, so be sure to share it. And also, we want to know what would you listeners like to hear as well. We're at a point where we do review films.
Yeah.
But if there's anything, old films, or would you like us to speak to a particular guest? Would you like us to collaborate with anyone? Send them our way. Let us know.
Yeah.
We're really open right now to...
definitely.
we love doing this. I love talking to you, Chris.
I love talking to you.
But if we can add a third microphone there and have the privilege of somebody else's
spot right
presence,
next to me.
right here,
right in front
in
of
this
us.
space, there could be somebody who could guest.
Yes.
We have the potential.
Yeah.
And we're two lovely guys who wouldn't want to have
If
a
we do say
conversation
so
with us.
ourselves.
If we do say so ourselves.
I think this is our best episode so far. Like, the way we talked about Parasite, fantastic.
it is the longest episode so far.
Yeah.
So we're going to cut it off there. Thanks again for listening. Be sure to check us out next week for our next episode. Be sure to like, favourite, follow, subscribe, rate, all that sort of business.
5 stars.
5 stars. And we will catch you next week.
If you leave a review, we will read out the review on the next episode.
Yes, we will. We have reviews, Chris.
We have a review, I know that much.
We have a review, but we should probably read this out at the beginning of the next episode.
We
so
will.
that when people listen to it, they can hear it.
So if you leave any more reviews, we'll read all them all out.
Fantastic. And we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.